this video we're going to be making the same effect for your products. So we are starting it with After Effects because it's pretty easy to track. And now we're going to import this footage. I will put the link in the description to the same footage. Let's drag it into the new composition and let's see. Okay, so first we need to track its camera. So click track camera and it will start tracking the camera. It depends on the duration and resolution of your shot. Okay, so okay, it's dragged and we have a lot of points on the building. And now what we're going to do, we are going to select some points. So drag your right, just hold your right and drag over it. And I think left, yeah. Okay, so you will select a lot of points and click right and create solid and camera. So we have a solid here. We can now play the animation, and as you can see it's perfectly tracked, and it's now time to export this data into Blender. So in order to do this, I have a script file. I will also put the link to the add-on and the script for After Effects if you want to export data from After Effects to Blender. So I'm just gonna select everything and script and export composition data to JSON and click it. So I'm gonna browse a location where I want to save it. First of everything, I'm gonna give it a name. So it's something like CT tracking or something. It's totally up to you what name you're gonna give it. So hit save and hit export. So the data is exported. Now it's time to import the same data into Blender. So open up your Blender. So okay, so hit A and X and delete everything. Come to File, Import, and After Effects Composition Data. Go to the directory where you save this data. So click it and import After Effects data. Okay, so here are so many files. I don't need the front plan because it's the footage. I'm gonna delete it. And now if I go to camera view, you can see it's moving the same. But first let's do some render settings. First come to the output setting and make the frame rate to something like 29.9 fps. And come to timeline. The After Effects composition starts from 0 frame, but Blender starts from 1. So grab all of those keyframes to 1. And yeah, it will be perfect. And also I think I have to make the ending frame according to the last keyframe. So now if I play it, it's perfectly black. Now let's select the camera and come to here, background image, add image, movie clip, and open the footage that we are going to track, that we tracked actually. And here's the footage. And now it's perfectly tracked. Now just increase the opacity of this shot. Yeah, it's looking good. So now what we are going to do, we're going to turn off everything like extras and relations, floor and X and Y to see it perfectly. Yeah, it's okay. So just decrease the ending frame because we got some pink background at the end of the video. Okay, so here what we need to select this shot, turn everything on again to see what is going on. Okay, now select the plane, scale it on y-axis, something like this, and grab it y-axis to actually fit in. Now grab this thing up on the z-axis and scale it on y-axis just to fit in the frame of the building, or I don't know, it's a skyscraper or something, but just fit in. Okay, yeah, it's fine. So now it's time to scale this on z-axis as well, or we can do it in edit mode. So go to edit mode, select the downward edge and just grab these on z-axis, something like this. Now just grab it slightly. Now select everything, go to edge selection and hit E to extrude it. So first select everything and then hit E, then S to scale this thing up. And we are doing this for holdout material, which actually mask out the background stuff. So we have to do it, okay? Just scale these up. I'm just doing it again because I'm just applying everything if I get the best result, but I'm just playing around, okay? So let's do it again. E then S to scale this thing up somewhere right here. And now go to face selection. I'm trying to select the front face. Hit E to extrude it, and maybe we can just align it perfectly. I'm gonna change the orientation to local so we can freely move anything. Like if it's rotated, then the axis will also change with this. Okay, so what we have done, we just extruded this thing backward, and now we have some problems in the front. I think this is a front face, so I'm gonna select it, and I'm just gonna try this. If it's not, okay. Oh, it's a front face, yeah. So we can just delete it because we don't need it. Just hit. Okay. So we have a perfect stuff going on. So now it's not perfectly aligned to the building. So just grab it on x-axis, something like this to align it with building. It's totally up to you. If your scenario is different, then you can just go crazy with it and whatever you want. It's perfectly tracked. You can add any kind of object into it. So now, if you play it, it's perfectly aligned into the building, and yeah. So now just grab it and align it. It's totally up to you and how you want it. So now let's give it two materials. One for the main material, which is the inside, and the other is a holdout material for the outside extruded faces. So assign it to different parts. For the outside, I'm gonna assign a new material. So let's just hit new on the first material and also hit new on the second. Now rename the second as holdout, so we will be able to understand or to know that it's a holdout material. And the first one is just material one or something. It's really up to you. Select the holdout and change the surface into holdout. Which what it actually do? It's actually mask out stuff in the background. It's work in cycles render. So just go and change your rendering engine to cycles. And if you go to render view, I think I have to make it transparent. So first we need to just go to render settings, film, and make it transparent. So if we turn off everything, you can see that this holdout material actually masked out the stuff behind it. So it's really handy while you are tracking something. So it's actually what mean by holdout materials. So now if we just add a sunlight, we're just doing it for now. This is not a final lighting. We're just trying out how and what kind of sunlight is going to be okay, or just we're just trying to lighten up the scene to see what is going on. Just come to light setting and just increase the strength of the sun. Maybe because we're just trying to view this or to overview that how it's look while there is some lights in the background. Okay, so change your device to GPU compute and yeah. Okay, select this object and change the interior or the main color into something you wish of. I'm just gonna go for yellow material or something. It's totally up to you, okay? I'm just gonna rotate the sun slightly to see what is going on. I can decrease or increase the sunlight strength. Yeah, it's perfect. If we now go through the timeline and if we play it, it's actually working. And now we can add any kind of stuff into our scene. And you can add any kind of product into these, I don't know what to call it, but this stuff in the building. I'm just going to turn off everything to see clearly what is going on. I'm not turning off the overlays overall because it's gonna turn off the background as well, so I don't want it. So now what we're going to do, we can rotate the sun, we can see it from different angles, and but the main thing that we are going to is to mesh the lighting, and we are going to do it later on. Yeah, it's okay. And now we can also just change it to global and scale it on y-axis, something like this. Okay, so it's perfect. Go to solid view, and we're just going to look at these and to figure out so many stuff. So I'm just tweaking up all the settings. I'm just turning on all of those overlays again to see what is going on. Just look at what I'm doing because I'm not sure what I will change because this is just a straightforward tutorial. I have not edited anything. I'm just going to move it into y-axis. Yeah, okay. So we got something like this, and I think it doesn't look good. If I move it to here and see it from camera view, it doesn't look realistic. So that is why I have to go for the settings that I have done before. I'm just gonna hit Control Z because it doesn't work for me. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm just changing this color to something like pink or something because it's a famous color of doing this kind of VFX. I've saw so many on Instagram. They all have pink colors, so I'm just going for a pink color. And now we play it, it's perfectly done. Now we are in render view. That is why it's just feel like very bad, but just don't mind it because yeah, if you render it, it will be perfect. And if we go to solid view and okay, so I got a watch model that I modeled in my previous tutorial. You can follow along, go ahead to my channel and just follow along that tutorial on learning and how to make a watch in Blender, and you will learn all of the stuff that you need in order to make a watch. Yeah, I have made two watch, so I'm gonna add two of them. I'm just aligning it to the scene. If it doesn't look good, I'm just gonna turn cavity to see the edges of all of stuff going on in the scene. And I will also put the link to this video on how to model a watch. I have made 1 hour tutorial, everything from scratch because I was not able to skip it. I was have to explain every single tool and the use of tool and the modeling process of a watch. I'm just aligning this watch accordingly to the scene. So I'm just moving it up slightly, something like this. And I'm also adding another one. If we just play it, it's perfect. Yeah, I think it's time to add another watch as well. So let's add. Okay, so this is the second watch. This is exactly the same watch that I modeled in my previous tutorial. So if you model the same watch, you will be able to make any kind of watch in the world that you see. But I'm just gonna add both of them modeled by me. Okay, so if you play it, it's working perfectly. Yeah, just save your tutorial. And now the lighting is really, really, really bad. So I'm just gonna turn off everything. And I think I have to delete the sun because it doesn't looks good. Yeah. Before doing anything, let's just hover over these and see how does it feel like. Turn on everything. Just gonna add a plan, maybe, because we want to make a sliding glass in front of this hole, and I'm just going to align it with the present plan. Just copy rotation. If you can't copy rotation of any object, you can turn on the add-on. It is pre-installed with Blender. Okay, so I'm just aligning it into that object. And now if we rotate it on x-axis 90 degree, it will be perfectly aligned to that object. You can also snap it to that object, but rotation does matter. And you can also do it with snapping, but I'm just doing it manually because I love it. Okay. So I'm just gonna align it to the hole perfectly, and I think it's not aligned perfectly. If we just move, yeah, you can see there's a huge gap between these two objects. So you can just go and move it to somewhere there, and you can just align it perfectly. Just move it on x-axis. I also turn on local because I can move. If you rotate in a object, it also rotated the orientation of that object, which means that, yeah, you just try it yourself and you will learn how local and global works. So I'm just looking at on it. If it doesn't look okay, I'm just grabbing it back slightly. It's not necessary, but I'm just doing it to hide on the watch model. You know, now it's time to move this watch backward. So if you move it, oh, I think their orientation is different. So I'll do it separately. Just grab it on y-axis. Something like this. And now select this downward watch and grab it on x-axis. Something like this. Just go to camera view, and now what we're going to do, we're going to give it a new material, and we are going to crank down the roughness and turn on the transmission of this, and just turn it everything off to see what is going on. And yeah, I think the lighting is not good, so I'm using an HDRI. I will put the link for the HDRI in the description to actually have a perfect lighting. And this is actually the HDRI that I'm gonna use in this tutorial, so I will also put the link in the description. You will be able to use the same HDRI because it's really free, and I used it right now and it looks perfectly. Yeah. So now I just turn on all of those overlays, and yeah, I'm just gonna move it a little bit forward, and now it's time to add some animation into our model. Because without animation, nothing looks great, everything will look stale as it's present in the actual footage. But if we add dynamic motion, we can't move it up because we have to tweak another settings as well. So I'm just going for the downward motion because it doesn't feel to be complicated for the downward. So I'm just aligning it perfectly to the background plan. And what I'm gonna do, we go to render view, and if I move it up and down, we can animate it actually. Okay, just increasing the roughness slightly, and just turn everything off like extras. We have this because if we want to move it up, we have to just tilt the other plan. So we don't want to add more tweaking into the tutorial. That is why I'm just moving it downward to make it simpler as possible. Okay, so I'm just going to first frame, head eye for location, and move along the timeline and just grab it on y-axis like that. Just hit eye, location, and now if we look at the animation, it's sick and it's looking good. So now if we move along the timeline, it does feel good. Okay, so now it's time to animate this watch coming out of the this hole because we have to do it. It's dynamic. So we're going to start it from 140 or something. So add a location keyframe, just move along and just move it outward, something like this, and add another location keyframe. Yeah, we can also rotate it if we want. We go to camera view and just try to rotate it. Oh, I'm just gonna change it to median point. Now if you rotate it, we can perfectly rotate this object because it's pretty easy. Just rotate it, and I think I've not added rotation keyframe, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add before that keyframe and just hit again location and rotation, and now we have location and rotation keyframe to the same model. We can also animate the second watch as well if we want. Just grab it on x-axis, something like this, and add a keyframe. It's a little heavy because we have added so many boolean and subdivision modifier to that watch. I'm also rotating this object. It's actually making the window very slow because we have some boolean modifier and I can add this. So yeah, that looks good. Now you can add any kind of object into the scene and it will be much easier for you. Okay, so that was for today. Thanks for watching.